Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Leap Taken. Running a little behind today. Completely, I don't know. I just completely lost track of time, but I'm here. I'm Mika. This is Leap Taken. And here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. And today I want to talk about this book, The Witch's Will of the Year, the ultimate guide to Witch's Will of the Year. Okay, so I'll just give you a brief summary of the book. It's easier just to read on the back. It's like the ultimate guide to the Witch's Will of the Year is your complete guide to celebrating the 8 Wiccan Sabbats. Yes, Wiccan. As part of your spiritual practice, learn the history of the holidays, their pagan roots, and how to merge these sacred cycles and celebrations with modern traditions and holidays. So, um, first, first and foremost, let me just say this: it is set up with the most beautiful pages, colorful, luxurious pages. Look at that; it's like so glossy, you can see a reflection. But there really are beautiful pages. So if you're looking for inspiration for planning ritual around the will of the year, these pictures will definitely kind of give you that it factor to really kind of get you going, thinking about, whatever season that you're working with. So this is where I started because this is what's coming up next. So this is where I was kind of focused mostly in the book. I did obviously look over the other Sabbaths throughout the year, but that was the one that kind of helped my focus for obvious reasons. Hello, Kyle Clark. Hi. Okay, so let me just get into it. So what I'm gonna do is I'll talk about the book, and then I'll go off on one of my inevitable tangents that I tend to go off on. But first, so about the book. So that was the summary. So my takeaways from the book. Just full disclosure, I will tell you the truth. I'll be honest, always, because I really want to kind of give you that information. This is nice to add. It's not very big. It's nice to add just to have to your witchy library. It is. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with the book. Are you gonna not today? No, I'm not gonna do that today. So if I'm doing this, let me just pause for a second. To do this truth spell from charm, I need to do it on a willing participant. So I don't really have anybody who wants to be on camera and like be caught lying. So that's going to be a tough one to try to figure out. But about the book, they have a section here for preparation for a ritual that I do love. I thought it was pretty. I don't know. It was short and sweet, but I thought it was to the point. So if like you were, I wouldn't say buy the book for this purpose, but just finding the positive things out of the book. This page right here really had like a lot of information on how to simply prepare for a ritual in 5 steps. So I thought that was really super helpful. A lot of times when you're looking through some of these books, I have different books that talk about seasonal magic and the Sabbath, the wheel of the year, and so forth. They don't necessarily break down, how to prepare for a ritual. They give you a little bit of detail depending on the specific working or spell or ritual that it's referring to, but not quite this detailed, even though it's kind of short. I don't know. I thought it was pretty precise, the information on how you might want to prep for a ritual. The other thing is in the section that I was in before about Ostara, I found that section to be super, actually pretty approachable. The rituals that they have in here, I don't think they were very difficult to source the items. Now, there is one for an Ostara invocation. They are saying wildflowers. Well, we live in a modern time. If you don't have access to wildflowers, technically you can order them online, or you can go someplace that, if you can source them, but you can order things online. You can go to Amazon and you can get those things. No, I don't. They wouldn't like if I did that to them, by the way. If I did a truth spell on them, I know my daughter would not appreciate that, and she would not be a part of that. And my husband is definitely not gonna want to be a part of that. No. And to me, it feels more like a party trick type thing, and that's not really kind of how I do my magic. It's very soulful, it's spiritual for me. I have fun with it, but I don't know. That seems like too contrived to try to do. I don't know. I can't see myself doing that. I don't mind doing spells and showing how I do them, but usually it's like just me by myself. And if I was to have somebody else, it would probably be to have a discussion about it, not so much to actually do the spell on them. But I will say this, I have some things planned that will kind of, I want to say expose, but that's not the right word, where I get to share more about exactly what type of magic I do, how I do my magic. So there's a workshop that's coming in March that I've already worked on, outlined, got it ready to go. But there's a workshop. So I'm going to do a series, a 3-part series here on the channel. And then I'm going to offer a workshop where I go more into cottage witchery. So you'll get a better idea of the type of magic that I do. And if you're interested, you can learn as well. Now, there are books you can go into, go on Amazon, go on Barnes & Noble or any other bookstore. You'll find information about cottage witchery. But I think I have a unique way of doing things. I'm not saying everybody should do it my way, but it might be helpful. You might get more satisfaction out of the way I do it, because I'm all about the practicalities of, magic. What is this? Hi, Aletha Case. Yes, I'm waving back to you. But anyway, so the Ostera invocation, call upon the energy of the dawn goddess. So there's 6 steps. It's not too much. Honestly, I don't think it's that much, and you can always substitute wildflowers and use something else. There's another one here, and this is just in the Ostera section. Oh, that's good. I'm glad. Hi, the Alt Barbie. I'm glad. I spend time doing it because it's like, when you're sharing stuff like that, it's tough, and I'm not charging anything for the workshop. It's not like I'm doing that right now. I kind of want to just put it out there. See, I have some other things that I would like to work on, and maybe there's be some monetary fee down the road for that. But right now, this is one of those things I just want to share, get feedback, and that sort of thing. And so anyway, yeah, that's coming. I'm gonna have a whole separate video talking about that, but for now, let me get back to this review. So the Persephone's pomegranate petition, that's nice. It just asks for a pomegranate, which most of us you can get in a store, mortar and pestle. You can always work the angles on that. But basically, you're making ink. This is like the picture of it. You're making ink, which I think is pretty cool. And you can always, hi, great day to you too, TK Brantley. You can always, modify and change it up as much as you want. You have room to do that, but all in all, I think that it had some pretty approachable rituals. And I say that because a lot of us, we get these books and I want to be inspired, and I know I'm almost never going to do a spell that I see written someplace in a book or any other place exactly as it's written. I probably won't do it that way, but it would be nice if I didn't have to revamp the entire thing. Otherwise, what am I doing? Like all the spells in the book? So I do appreciate that these seem kind of fancy, but when you really think about what the ingredients are, it is kind of approachable. It's not that difficult to gather the materials to do these spells. For instance, the Enchanted Spell paper. Enchanted Spell paper. I plan on doing this one. I love that one. I love my paper. I love journaling. So I already have some paper set aside that I'd like to use for this. Basically, you're creating like a spray. You're going to mist that onto the paper and the spray will be enchanted. It calls for rosemary essential oil, frankincense essential oil, alcohol. I guess that's to get it to dry quickly. And glass bottle with mist, or in the parchment or paper. You can use stamp, ink, label, and some sort of writing instrument. But basically, all in all, it's really about the oils, the alcohol. You're just making something to spray on to enchant your paper, which are great for petitions. Think about that right now if you are wanting to do some sort of releasing work for the full moon. This is you can make something quickly with this as well, and just sprinkle it on if you don't have a mister. Just this little dab on there on the paper. But anyway, you can do that, and you can enchant the paper. So that's just one more layer, one more step where, you know, you're just putting your intention into your spell work, into your magic and all that sort of stuff. So I was inspired with that. These sections per holiday are not large. It's brief information. Yeah, like the Ostera section, this is pretty much it here. This, yeah, what I'm holding, this is it. And then it goes into Beltane, which actually has some helpful information in the Beltane section as well. So, the other thing I wanted to point out is they have a section called Astronomical Basis. So if you're into that, and each Sabbath, they do have a section, and they just talk about, you know, what was happening as far as, you know, how it relates to this season from an astronomical point of view. So it just breaks that information down. And I do like, even though I don't live in the southern hemisphere, there is information about that, celebrating Ostara in the southern hemisphere. And it just gives information because I think that's, yeah. At the winter solstice, the sun rises in the northeast, sets in the northwest. Well, at the summer solstice, the sun rises in the southeast and sets in the southwest. And it just goes into some detail about that. I don't know if anybody here is in the southern hemisphere, but they have some information. And finally, the correspondence section. Now this was helpful. Let me get closer. This was helpful. I thought that this section was actually really good. Like, you know, it gave information about like altar decorations, animals that are associated with this particular Sabbath, colors, deities, direction. It's east, by the way. The element is air, makes sense. Stones, musical instruments, herbs, incense, oils, stones, yeah, again, symbols, themes, trees, zodiac, planet, and so forth. By the way, the zodiac planet, Aries/Mars, sun at 0 degrees Aries. So there you go. That's pretty much each Sabbath has that kind of information and a little bit of nuggets of information in between, but mostly at least about, looks like 4-5 rituals per section. There's not a lot to dislike about the book. I'm not going to lie. There's not a lot to dislike. This is a newer book. This recently, very recently came out. It's copyright 2021. So this is something new. I got it from Amazon. The link is in the description. There's not a, yeah, like I said, I don't dislike the book. It's brief information on each section. So it's very brief. So if you're looking for something and you don't want to, read, if you don't want to read, feel like you're reading a bunch of information, you just kind of want it condensed more, then this might be for you. My final thing, the thing that I did that stood out to me in that particular section for Ostera was the section about balance and harmony. Okay, so this is like what I meant about little nuggets of information in between the rituals per section. And here it just, kind of went into a little bit more explanation. The egg is a symbol of the god and goddess working in unison. Suspends the yellow oak, the part of the egg that physically enables the growth of the chick, represents our outer self and symbolizes the sun. And it just goes on about like kind of looking at the egg a certain way and relating it to Ostera because eggs are a thing, Easter, Ostera, spring, People tend to use eggs. I have some on my dining room table right now, a little decoration with eggs. And for me, it's all about fertility, but they had a section on here, fertility and growth as well, about that. So it's a great time to set those intentions for things that you want to grow right about now. And this book can be helpful in aiding. It kind of gets you aligned with that. So final thoughts, because this was going to be quick on this one, because the reality of it is it's a short book. I was more impressed with what I thought I was getting than what I got, if I'm being completely honest. I still think if you don't have anything, this is okay to add to your Witchy collection, your library. I don't know about it being the ultimate guide. I like the glossy paper. I like the beautiful imagery that they have in here. I love that because I love paper. I like touching it and all that sort of stuff. So I really do like it. It's a sensory thing for me. It is written for those who would consider themselves Wiccan. But regardless, if you don't, as we do, most of us anyway, even if you're not Wiccan, you tend to still buy the books or buy the materials because you can still find value in it. Um, and the resources section in the back, there is a resources section, which I thought was, it's not a lot, but it gave some details about opening ritual elements. This is one of my favorite. Sometimes a book can have great descriptive information, and I thought that was actually pretty nice to include. I thought it was pretty detailed. It's like cleansing, how to cleanse your sacred space, calling the quarters if you're going to do that. Remember, this is Wiccan based, and casting a circle, but you don't have to be Wiccan to cast a circle. Because I stopped being Wiccan, I was still casting circles. I don't do so much anymore, but there are times when I feel like I need to, I do. If that makes any sense. I'm in my home most of the time doing magic, and I mostly feel like I don't need to do that, especially when I'm practicing in certain areas, because I constantly cleanse that space and I'm infusing it with other positive energy. And I have a whole, my own ritual of what I want to do when I want to contact the spirit world. So I feel like those steps help do whatever the circle is accomplishing as far as protection and giving, that safe outlet to interact with the spirit world. So I feel like I already have that without doing a circle. But anyway, they have elemental correspondences, which I thought was nice. This, again, in the resources section. I thought this was pretty okay. Information here. It's not anything groundbreaking or anything I didn't know, but I like it. Yeah. So you don't need this book if you already have something talking about the Wheel of the Year, this particular book. So if you saw this and you looked at it and you were thinking and you were like, I want to get more into seasonal magic, and practicing that way, you don't need it. If you want it, you get it. You have my permission. You can get the book if you want it. But I would just say it's not mandatory. It's not a must read. This is not something you read cover to cover. I mean, you can, but I don't see why you would. I would probably start with where I was on the Wheel of the Year and read there. I know I won't be referring to this often. It will go on my bookshelf. And unless there is something which, I want to try different that I can't find in my grimoire or in other books that are a little bit more beefier on these subjects, the Wheel of the Year, I probably won't be picking this off my shelf again. And I don't feel that bad about it, because there's a possibility there might be something in here that, this is how I feel for now. And I might look in here, at a different time of year, midsummer, or, back in the fall or Yule, I'll check it out then maybe. But I highly doubt it. Just being honest, I doubt it. I don't think I'll probably refer to it again. So there's that. Yeah. So my review is that it's not that great. Sorry, it's not that great. It's very brief information that, quite frankly, an internet search or just perusing through Pinterest probably would have given you this information. But if you don't want to do that and you want it on pretty glossy paper, that information, then buy the book. It can go that way. So, yeah. Does anybody have any questions about this book that I didn't go over? I'm being very direct and clear and honest about how I felt about it. It's not a bad book. I just don't think it's offering me anything more. And I wonder if this is going to be a problem as time goes on for me, or not just for me, for all of us. Think about it. The more knowledge that you acquire, the last thing you want to do is buy yet another Witchy 101 book. You know what I mean? With very short, brief information that was groundbreaking maybe when you first started, or maybe you were reinitiating yourself at one point, but it's not as interesting anymore because you've been there, done that, and went back and did it again. So I wonder if this is going to be a thing. So I think for me, I guess that's why I'm more focused on creating my own sort of content now, starting with a series and then a workshop, which, depending on that goes, I had been thinking about, and I have to be very careful talking about books because I'm working on one and it's taking so long. So I'm already out. I will abandon that and basically start something else. I have to watch myself, but I do want to write a nonfiction book about witchcraft, specifically cottage witchery. So that doesn't, it's tough because you want to keep in mind the beginner witch, or somebody who's just getting into it. You could deconstruct the book and use the pages for a book shadow. Yes, because the pages are absolutely beautiful. That is definitely something I could do. Oh, it's so pretty though. I almost don't want to mess it up though, which is bad. I bought it. I paid for it. I could do what I want with it, right? But like, look at this. Come on, look at that pretty page. So pretty. Anyway, so yeah. So I'm thinking more creating, sharing, and still learning from other people, and I'll still buy books and things like that. But I'm beginning to wonder if that's an issue, because I read reviews at this point. Before I was a little more lax on that, but for the nonfiction books, I read the reviews to get an idea. Is it worth me getting this book? Am I going to even want to read it, let alone do a review for it? So this one, not bad. It's not a bad book. There's nothing wrong with this book. If you were thinking about buying this book, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just not, it's not telling me anything I haven't already heard, talked about, or referenced myself in my old Book of Shadows, let alone my newer grimoire that I'm using. So those are my thoughts on this book. And I I could repurpose it, maybe, because since I'm already saying I probably won't ever look at it, I'll maybe just repurpose. And the things that I did see value out of, I could just add those to my own grimoire, right? That way the information is already there. I always have it. So there's that. So taking a sip of water, it's tangent time. Tangent time. All right. So I did a video, and I would have to go searching for it. It's older, where I talked about what to look for in a spiritual leader. You got a lot of witchy ideas off of Pinterest. Oh my gosh, me too. I want to say when I wasn't buying books, or if I'm not, I'll go to Pinterest, because I've pinned a lot of stuff from years ago. Honestly, I could just look on my own pins and see, something always inspires me there, even without a new search. But tangent time. All right, so spiritual leaders. I have a video. I talk about what to look for in a spiritual leader. And again, it's an old video. Search for it. If I can find it, I'll add it in the comments later. But one of the things, I bring this up for a reason. If you are at all versed in things like hypergamy, level up, what else did they say? Women with masculine energy. If any of these terms do something to you, because you've been seeing them in various spots across the internet, specifically here on YouTube, there are certain people who have channels. There's quite a few people actually who have channels, women specifically, I notice, who talk about this sort of stuff, and they have courses and are coaches and all this sort of stuff. And some of them kind of dip into the whole witchcraft thing. If you pay attention, not all, some talk a little bit about that, or they may not be about that, but they are kind of somewhat, at least for the public purposes, they're not against it. They make sure that they're not against it. So my point is, I'm bringing this up because there is a popular YouTuber, what is her name? Michaela Pink is what she went by on YouTube. Now, I years ago started following Ashira, Star Goddess, that channel. Ashira Goddess or Star? Yeah, sure. Ashira Star Goddess. Y'all know who I'm talking about. She's really popular here on YouTube. I'm sure you guys know. So I followed her many years ago. We were living in, but we were living in Tennessee some years ago. I want to say, dang, I can't get the timeline right. I'm struggling. I've been living here for 2 years, 3. So 5-6 years ago, maybe, I got on with Ashira, and her talking about dark energy. Again, by the way, I'm still in line with that. I understood where she was coming from. That resonated with me. So I really got a lot of value out of watching her channel years ago. And I know she has another channel, the Shira 7, right? I mean, I really was into her. Like, I really followed her. So that's where she talked. That was her level up group. That's what I think it was, like a level up group. She started talking more about that and start forming a group. And I think she had her own coaching. At some point, I'm going down this road. She brought in this, or from my perspective, I assume that was one of her friends. I don't know if she knows her from way back. I think she said she was a neighbor and was also a viewer. And she brought on Michaela or Mickey at the time. And Mickey and her were doing this whole level up group thing. They had a group on Facebook. And I'm married and I feel like I've already leveled up. I don't know. I feel like I mean, you can always level up more, right? But anyway, I got a kick out of the information. Now, Ashira was married as well, obviously, and the girl, Michaela, not at the time. I think she was married but getting a divorce. Point is, Michaela started her own thing, and she's basically took what Ashira was doing and, she made it into even more of a bit. I don't know to what degree Ashira does the coaching. I don't know, because I would never go to her for coaching to level up to marry a rich man. At least not where I'm at now. And I feel really confident in who I picked to marry. So I'm good in that department. But anyway, I don't know if she does coaching. She doesn't say it on her videos that I've seen where she's talking about that sort of stuff. So I don't know. And I went back in the last couple day or so to check because of this whole Michaela Pink. So Michaela Pink started her own thing on basically, in short, I'm condensing it, but I'm sure she would describe it differently, on basically how to level up, how to get the bag from these men, how to marry very well, wealthy, rich, or whatever, or how to be a sugar baby, getting taken care of, all that sort of stuff. So I know a lot of people. She's in jail now, by the way, for embezzlement and for scamming. And I saw different amounts. Somebody said 20,000, somebody said 40,000. I don't know. The point is that I'm wanted to kind of get you to where, with this, if you have no idea, now you know. You have to be very careful. I say that, but I don't really think people are that careful. Okay, I have been single before. I have wanted to have a relationship with somebody and a provider type of man. I wanted those things prior to meet my husband being separated. I wasn't even legally divorced yet from my first husband. But I remember being in that position. So I could put myself back then and I could say, well, if you had access to those courses, that coaching, and you had the coin to pay for it at the time, it wasn't a hardship to pay the money, and I got value out of it, that's not so bad, right? Because I'm sure there are people who got coaching from her, signed up for courses, who probably felt like they got their money's worth. And then there are other people who obviously, it was enough to put her in jail, so they had to have proof of something, where she basically, scammed people out of money under, coaching or whatever. Maybe she promised something and didn't deliver. I don't know. But what I will say, or I don't even know if she stole, I don't know the details of all that, but the point is that this is just, to me, another example of sometimes we're looking for like this, and forgive me, this magic. We're looking for magic. We're looking for this instant solution to our problems. Oh, okay. You follow her too, TK Brantley? Or you wait, follow who? Ashira or Michaela Pink? But yeah, Michaela, I watched her channel a couple times because I remember that her being close with Ashira and her kind of presenting us viewers to her. That's how I even knew about her. So now, from my understanding, I think they had a falling out of some sorts. I don't know. I have not really been listening to Ashira's channel as much because it no longer resonated with me. Her material that she talks about now, not really. Yeah, like she talks more about what's going on in the world and all that, and decoding and all that sort of stuff, which I do find value in. But we are also in an age with a lot of people, smart people, Listen, people I know and love. So when I say this, I mean people I deal with as well, who are really being fed misinformation and conspiracy, and it's no longer something. It's bad. We live in a world where it's bad. We saw what happened on January 6th because that group of people were totally convinced of something, and they felt emboldened to do what they did based on their truth, which it isn't the actual truth. But we have other people who are, influencing children and other younger folk who are just going to perpetuate more misinformation. So I don't know. Some of this stuff I feel like that she talks about is hurting more than helping. Now, for those who can think, I guess, more high level and they're not, how I'm trying to be nice about this. For people who can process and who can think a little deeper, and with that, but at the same time understanding everything is not a sign, everything is not a symbol. I don't know. I'm trying to explain this without being incredibly insulting to groups of people, but basically people who maybe they don't get it. I get that you're talking about metaphysical things. I understand you're not talking about right here, right now, this thing is going to pop or pop up, or it's the end of the world. Where I don't think a lot of the audience that she is now attracting really understands that. And that's enough of my tangent about that part. But back to Michaela Pink. The point is, she supposedly scammed these people. There was a mugshot. She was really arrested. And I know for me, one of the reasons I have been very uncomfortable, even with broaching the concept of coaching, and things like that, is because I feel like that's just, it can get really weird. I also don't, I don't want to say I'm afraid to it's not that I'm afraid. I mean, I'm putting myself out there right now. I just feel like I would be opening myself up to too much risk. So I'd like to take the approach of workshops, eventually, courses, classes, books. But I still like the interaction of working with people, maybe one-on-one things way down the road. But right now, that story kind of, not that I'm a scammer, but I can see what happens, or this is the way I was thinking. What happens when, your YouTube witch starts coaching and doing all these other things, but someone felt like, hey, I felt like you promised something and didn't deliver, whatever it was. I thought I would get, rich by the end of the year. I thought I was going to get my boyfriend back. I feel like my life has gotten worse, and I've paid you this money for coaching and nothing's working. You're a scammer, and they file charges against me or something like that. Like, I don't really know fully. I don't know how that works, but that's some of the stuff I think about before going or advertising myself as a coach. The word on the street is that Shira is in trouble. Oh, she's in trouble too? Oh, I didn't know that. I went because I have my opinions and I feel like I get to share them like everybody else. I went to her channel yesterday looking for something where she even remotely talks about what's happening with Michaela Pink. And I didn't see anything where she directly head on talked about it. To me, she had a video where she was kind of alluding to that's who she was talking about. So I guess that's it. Smart, because I probably wouldn't, you're talking about the law. I wouldn't speak on it either. Not directly. Just to save my own hide, I wouldn't either if I was her. But hopefully she's not. I know she's, like I said, I don't have anything against Ashira. I like, at least through her channel, her personality that comes across. I kind of dig it. I kind of like her. I like how she's like shrugs off, people who put horrible, insulting comments, and they've been doing this for years to her. So I do appreciate that. I don't know. I like her. Okay, you followed her for a minute, and she didn't resonate with you either. Wait, which one? The All Barbie? Which one are you talking about? Both ladies, Ashira or Michaela? But the whole situation with Michaela Pink, I just look at that and I just think to myself, one, I don't know what was going on with her and that whole situation. But I will say this, and this is what I wanted to say about this outside of my own personal fears about going into coaching. What I want to say is this to you. I like to look at telltale signs about people and to see if they're really aligned with what they're talking about. For instance, using myself, I talk about, practical approaches to magic on this channel. For the most part, I'm trying to push positivity here. Even when I frame things talking about something negative, from my views, you have the reason that you want to do negative magic, is probably out of Ashira. Okay, I see. It's probably because of some need or some issue, but basically you have altruistic intentions. I don't know. That's not, call me naive, but that's what I think. Because I don't think people, of course there's nasty people, but you're probably not on my channel looking at what I do. So for those who are viewing this, I get why you might be doing certain things that other people might call dark magic. But anyway, because I'm losing my train of thought on this thing, I'm going on a tangent on another tangent. But as far as looking at the signs, looking at the things in front of you when you're watching these channels, I feel like I'm pretty, clear on how I present the way I do magic. This is my little workspace. I open you up to that. I've shown my husband. One day my kids will show up. But for now, they'll let me show old baby pictures. But the point is, I'm trying to be open and show you, hey, I'm somebody you can trust, a YouTuber you can trust, to give you this information. That way, when I get to conversations in the next series that I'm going to be talking about, cottage witchery, and how it's changed my life, monetarily speaking, health-wise, and so forth and so on, you get it. You'll understand, there's a belief, we're together on it, we're eye to eye, where I'm coming from. So since this is me and that's how I approach it, and even before I started really making videos, that's kind of how I assumed things were going to go with a lot of these YouTubers. So when I watch Michaela Pink, which is when I have seen her channel, I watched someone who started one way, learning how to do makeup. She was learning how to do makeup better. And she started, wearing the wigs more and dressing different. And all of this was in line with the coaching and the courses and everything else. Basically, when more of that revenue started coming in, the level up came up. And I kind of just want to point that out to you. If you are somebody, this is how I see it. It's very easy to level up when other people are, people are sending you money and paying you more money to do so. And obviously she wasn't delivering on whatever it was because she's gotten arrested for it. So maybe she was just keeping the money. Look, I don't know. But the point is, you got to look at people's background, look at the progression, especially if they've made a lot of videos so you could kind of see from the beginning to now. What has happened with this person? Channels change, people evolve, I understand that. But the level up wasn't because, in my opinion, these men who were giving her money, I thought it was because she was getting money from the women who were supporting her channel, supporting her courses and her coaching services. So if you were enamored with her style, and I'm just using Michaela Pink because could be true for a lot of different witches on YouTube. If you're enamored with their style and thinking they must have figured it out, they have the formula, they got the right thing, and you start investing with these people, you really got to look at the whole picture. Like I said, the level up happened because people were supporting her channel, supporting her, giving her money. So yeah, she was able to buy more things. From my understanding, this woman has 3 kids and she's a single mother. And one of the kids was a really young baby, maybe preschool age or toddler preschool, something like that. So, and then up to a teenager. So, I imagine she has to take care of them, only for the witchy videos, but not to harm anyone. Yeah, no. But yeah, I'm sure her money is necessary. So, I get why she would want to do some of the things she's doing. I'm just saying you the viewer, you the person who wants to maybe invest in courses and things like that. I'm sure a lot of you already know, but you got to be careful, and just pay attention. And one of the things that I look at, like if you're telling me, oh, I'm buying all these designer items, and and now I'm off of Michaela, and I'm just thinking about, I've seen witches who say, oh, I bought this, I bought that, the universe provided, or my spells are working and all that sort of stuff. You see a lot of designer things. Okay, that's nice. But then I start looking at other things, because typically, I mean, it could just do with mindset, maybe because I'm older, but I look at your background. I look at your, like, especially if you're showing me your home. So, I'm looking at what you have going on that aligns with this lifestyle that you're selling, basically, and you want me to buy into. And if it looks very similar to what I have, and I know where I'm at, I mean, I'm doing okay. I'm doing more than okay. But if it looks like that or less, I don't believe you, basically. I don't believe you. And I'm not judging anybody. But if, like I said, if you're selling me something, selling me a lifestyle, if you're selling me the ability to manifest and the ability to do a spell, to now have all the things that you apparently have from, or at least what you're trying to show me on YouTube and social media or whatever, I'm going to be paying attention to that. So when I saw that story, I immediately went back to not even last year, 2019, when I saw things that I knew made no sense for what this person was saying, where they started from, and what they were claiming to have then. So needless to say, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. I'm not. I don't want to see anybody in jail, though. I don't want to see anybody scammed either. But I don't like the idea of someone who's a single mother with 3 kids getting locked up. That doesn't make me feel good either. I know some people are like salivating about this online, about her going, and I don't think that's fair either. I don't know. I'm never about seeing somebody because they got her age, she's 40, single. Like, I'm not trying to see you struggling like that and have to pick up the pieces, because typically with jail you might have job loss and all that sort of stuff. So I wouldn't wish that on anybody. And and my heart goes out for the people who actually were scammed, who felt they were scammed by her. But we got to be careful out here in this witchcraft community. I saw somebody saying something like, it's basically this whole YouTube thing is just polluted with YouTubers who are trying to scam. It's always, it's been like that for some time, guys. You just have to use discernment. And if you don't know how to use discernment, watch some of my videos where I talk about intuitive magic, intuition, because I'm kind of giving you the information right there about how to learn to trust your intuition. I have a lot of mistakes and stories on when I didn't. So trust me, I know what I'm talking about on this, because I struggled with learning to trust it and actually do what my intuition was directing me to do. So anyway, that's as far as my tangent goes. You guys have any questions about the Wheel of the Year book, or anything else that you wanted to ask or share before I get out of here? I know I was a heck of a tangent talking about this Michaela Pink thing, but I see it's a lot of buzz about it online, and I couldn't help but remember the whole timeline of how she came out, and just the level up that supposedly happened. Yeah. Nothing wrong getting yourself together, leveling up, and being the best you. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for that. And I was with her in the beginning, because to me, I felt like I was really watching her apply all these things to her own life initially. My problem is I felt like she took, pardon the pun, one heck of a leap to being a guru. It's like, I feel like there were some things that didn't happen in between, and you just took this leap because there was an opportunity to make money, but whatever. All right, so it looks like, I know there's a delay, but it looks like I don't see any new questions. All right, so I will go ahead and end this. If you purchase this book, let me know in the comments, by the way, on the replay as well, what you think of the book. If you had a different opinion about it, I'd appreciate that information as well, because maybe it'll have me take a second look, and I'll find something else. I doubt it, but I think I like the idea of what the Alt Barbie said about deconstructing this particular one. This one is good because these pages are big enough where I think it'll look great in my grimoire over here. But yeah, that's pretty much, oh, what'd you say, level up? Okay, girl, but depending on a man's finances, isn't really leveling. Yeah, it can. Yeah, that can be an issue depending on, how you're approaching it. I always say this when it comes to marriage. I've been married for 14 years. We've been together for 15 years. And the thing about finances is it can be like this. It's not always, just straight across. Life happens, things happen. So sometimes, anything in a marriage, sometimes the other person has to lean a little bit more on the other party, and so forth and so on. Ultimately, my husband is an old school kind of guy, so he always wanted me to be a housewife, not have to work. If I want to work, that's fine, but do other things that fuel me, that don't necessarily pay me actual money. So I'm at the point in my life now where I'm basically trying to live a creative life, and I can afford to do that because he's got that side of things, the money side. He's making the money. So he's the sole breadwinner in the family. So that works for us. But again, I just told you we were married for 14 years, and I met him at work. So clearly I was working, and things evolved and changed over time. There's a lot of trust that happened. Lady Magical Duchess as well. What about what do you mean her as well? Wait, depends on the man's finances. Her depending on her man's, I thought she had a business or something. Because I used to watch her more. I don't even know if she even yes, she died. Does she? I don't know if she does videos anymore. But I watched her early stuff. I really got a lot of value out of her early videos. Marrying for money isn't like marrying and building together. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, no, it's not quite the same. That's why I said trust. You learn to trust, because I think a lot of us are brought up in a way where we're told to have your own, and to be working, and we're kind of bred to go about it that way. So in order for you to kind of really fall back and not be bringing an income, maybe you're working on a business or something. Maybe ultimately you will be working, bringing in money, but there's this period of time, you won't, or you're going back to school and you want to depend on your partner. You got to have a certain level of trust. And I don't think all of us, that was the other thing in those groups. I'm like, I could just tell, listening to some of these women, you can read their comments. They are not there. They're not going to give up their job. So even if they come across the high value man, as the ladies say it, they're not going to give up their job to go. They won't trust this guy. They won't trust this person. They won't, because a lot of us have been bred to not trust and not depend, right? So they're in this program, they're paying for coaching, they're doing all this stuff, when even if presented, they would never most of them probably will never give up their job, because they will never fully trust this guy to take care of everything. And then maybe for good reason, I don't know, but yeah, but bless it. I know that's something else, but yeah, Lady Magical Duchess, I used to find her I used to really like her videos a lot. I haven't really watched a lot of her stuff, assuming she's making videos. I don't think she is, but I'd stopped watching her channel as well. And that happens, you go in and out, here in this YouTube world. Some channels are, it resonates, you're getting something out of it. And other times, channels, like I said, they go through changes and evolution. Sometimes there's a dip in the content. I try to keep that from happening here. That's why I said, hey, let me go live. I'll probably eventually go live more because it's easier for me to just talk like this. You get to know a little bit more about my personality, where I go on crazy tangents for apparently no reason and lose my point a lot. But, that's me. It's one of my endearing qualities, and that's what I'm calling it. But yeah, I would like to keep my channel, something where you want to come back to. I want it to feel comfortable, but at the same time engaging. Maybe there's something you knew, but maybe I'm framing it in a context you hadn't seen before. Because I think a lot of us know a lot of information, especially about our own spiritual paths and about the type of magic that we do. One of the things that I like to do when I look at other people's channel is, how are they doing it? Even if we're doing the same thing, it's always going to be a little bit different. And I'm curious to know, what are the results they're getting? How's it working for them? Yeah, so that's that. All right, but I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I think this is a good spot to end. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the video I'll have something announced. That'll be, I think, Monday or Wednesday. I think I already have some scheduled for Monday. So Wednesday's video, I'll talk about the Cottage Witchery series and then the workshop, which will follow shortly after that. But first I'll present the series, Wet Your Whistle, and what I'm talking about. In Trouble. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, In Trouble. Wait, what? Oh, TK Bradley, you were saying she's in trouble too. I thought she already was in some trouble. I remember I was watching her back then and she was doing this video. People were bringing up her past stuff, but oh no, I'm sorry. See, that makes me so nervous about the concept of coaching and all that. I don't know. We assume, I don't know if these people are guilty. Michaela got arrested. I assume there was enough to arrest. And with everybody else, I don't know to what extent, again, when you're in this type of work where you are paying for a service or someone's paying you for a service to provide coaching, the expectation is whatever I'm providing coaching for, they have some benchmark of success or benchmarks of success. So if I feel like there's nothing, like, to me, I would have you sign some sort of contract that you don't blame me for everything that's wrong in your life because I decided to, you decided to seek me out for coaching services. That would make me very nervous. Actually, it's not about me not believing in my magic and believing in my abilities to coach. For me, it would be like, you got to be careful because some people see things totally different. But we don't know all the details, so who's to say, right? Either way, beware and be cautious. Pay attention to backgrounds, guys. Pay attention to other things. If I'm somebody who I'm a master manifester and I'm doing all these things and I have all these balls in the air and I'm so perfect, and I take a vacation and my vacation is not quite what you would expect for someone who is selling themselves to be so much more, right? So if it's like you hopefully get what I'm saying. If I'm presenting a certain lifestyle and my background looks kind of like your background and we're all kind of on the same level, then you're like, hey, I'm trying to aspire to more than what I got going on back, in my background. I don't know, just watch out for that. Again, when you see the level up happening, only after they got really popular and they got more money, the level up wasn't from the thing that they're claiming gets them the bag, whether it's the guys or it's witchcraft or magic or whatever else. It's you giving the money. So that's it. Now I'll end it. So thank you so much again for tuning in, coming on to the live, guys. If this is a replay, I appreciate you watching as well. Please like, subscribe, share. I do appreciate that. And again, just thank you so much for watching the channel and for coming here again today. All right, bye-bye.